Okay. Okay. So in the last session, we have discussed few common control. So like label, text box, and button. Okay. So today we will see some more controls. Okay. Now, see when it comes to the real-time applications, right? If you ask a user to enter something manually, so the manual process is always an error prone, right? For example, we have a field called gender or country. If you ask user to enter the country name, so they might enter some mistakes. They may make some mistakes, right? If you ask them to enter something, always it is an error prone, right? So if you want to, overcome these kind of issues, okay. So if you want to make it more consistent, if you want to capture the data accurately, then you should not use text boxes. Rather, make use of another controls called combo box or list box. Okay. So for example, when it comes to name is going to be different from user to user, right? So we don't have a fixed set of data for name because for every person name will get changed. In this case, obviously I should keep a text box. We should ask the user to enter his name. You cannot replace it with any control. But when it comes to country or state, it is going to have fixed number of fixed set of data. When it comes to country, for example, let us assume that we have only 500 countries across the world. And this is going to be fixed every time. This will not be changed every day. Our state, right? For example, in India, we have 29 states, right? So will it be changed every day? No, this is not going to be changed every day. It is going to have fixed number of values, fixed number of possible values, right? So in this case, if you ask user to enter the country name or state name, he might make some mistakes. Arithmetic. If there is some spelling mistake that leads to incorrect data, if any field that is going to have fixed number of possible values, in that case, do not use your text box. Get them replaced with another control called combo box and list box, where user doesn't need to enter anything. Rather, you can choose the required value from the list of populated values. So when it comes to name, obviously name is not a fixed one. It is not going to have fixed number of values. It gets changed from person to person. So there you can keep fixed set of values. But when it comes to country and state, yes, it is going to be fixed every day. It is not going to be changed. So in this case, do not use text boxes. Do not ask user to enter anything manually. Alright, so we should get rid of all error prones. So that way you'll be able to speed up our process also. If you put text box here, if you ask user to enter something, yeah, his country name, every time you have to validate it before saving it into the database. Because we don't know whether he has entered the correct country name or whether he made some mistakes in that. So before saving this into the database, every time it has to be validated to ensure he has entered the correct value, right? So there is a problem with text box. So in any case, if any field is going to have fixed number of set of possible values, do not place text box, get it replaced with combo box or list box. When it comes to combo box or list box, using this control, you can predefine set of possible values. You can predefine set of possible values. For example, when it comes to country, yes, you can define the list of country names. When it comes to state, you can define list of states to be there. Alright, so this is going to have predefined set of values. This will not be changed frequently, right? So in this case, your approach should be towards either combo box or list box. Using combo box or list box, you can display list of possible values. where user doesn't need to enter anything. Rather, he can choose the required value from list of possible values. That way, you'll be able to reduce number of errors in your process. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
But what is the difference between these two? As I said, whenever you want to display set of list of possible values using a control, then you can choose either combo box or list box. But when should I go for combo box? When should I go for list box? So you have to choose any one of these two based on your requirement. So in order to do that, first you need to know the nature of combo box and nature of list box. So if you look into that, what is the difference between these two? So when it comes to combo box, you can display set of possible values using combo box, and you can allow user to select the required value from the list of populated options, but it allows user to select only one value at a time. It allows user to select only one value at a time. You can select only one value at a time. You cannot select multiple values. And when it comes to list box, yes, it allows user to select more than one value at a time. Here, only one item is visible at a time. Here you can show more than one item at a time. Then I have to decide which control has to be chosen. Let's say here we have a field called country, state, and hobbies. Country, state, and hobbies. When it comes to country, now what should be my control? Should I use combo box or list box? So in order
List
to
box.
decide that, which one?
We need to use list box, sir.
List box. Why list box?
It only takes one at a time, like one and
Combo box. That is combo box, not list box.
okay, okay.
Combo box shows only one item at a time. It allows you to select only one item at a time. It means you can select only one item. When it comes to list box, it allows you to select multiple items at a time. You can show multiple items at a time. So when it comes to country, user should belong to only one country. When I say what is your country, if I am the resident of India, I will choose my country as India. If you are the resident of USA, you will choose your country as USA. I cannot choose more than one country, right? In this case, so even though you're trying to choose multiple things, you should not be allowed. Are you getting me? So if I try to choose multiple things, you should not be allowed. You should be allowed to choose only one at a time. Okay. So in this case, to restrict that kind of things, right? So you have to use combo box because user should select only one country at a time. And that should be done automatically. You should not be allowed to select multiple things. And only one thing should be visible. So in this case, what should be the option here? Combo box. What should I choose? I should choose combo box control. Next, state. State. And what should be the best option here? For state,
Combo
which control
box.
has to be placed? Combo box or list box?
Same combo.
Same.
Why combo
Combo
box?
Only
We
one.
only
Yes,
one
when it
state.
comes to state also, after selecting your country, and you will belong to only one state. So you should be allowed to select only one item at a time. So now what should be my option here? Combo box. So that's like, so you have to choose it based on your requirement. When it comes to hobbies, I'm going to put list of hobbies, predefined hobbies, reading books, watching movies, watching TV, playing sports. Here, what is the best option? Combo box or list box?
List, because people can have
Very
multiple
good,
hobbies.
very good, very good. Because one user can have more than one hobby, right? I like watching TV, I like playing sports, I like reading books. In this case, users should be allowed to select more than one hobby at a time. Users should be allowed to select more than one value at a time. So in this case, which one is the right option? List box is the right option. Okay, so wherever you need to allow user to select multiple options, then your option should be list box. Wherever you need to allow user to select only one option at a time, then your option should be combo box. Is it clear? This is the difference between combo box and list box. Any questions, guys?
No.
No, sir.
Okay, so let's see that. Go to your common controls. First, let's go with ComboBox. This is my label. Go to properties. The label name as some country. And this is my drop down list. If you want, you can just give the name, go to properties. First, I need to give the name. One second. Guys. Okay. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with drop down list. So a combo box is also called as drop down list. We can also call it as drop down list. So give the name is nothing but identity of your combo. We usually start it with CB or CMB country. Okay. So now, if I want to, now, as I said, you need to bind a set of possible values with your this combo box because your user is going to select a value from list of values that are available with your combo box, right? So where do I provide that? So here we have a property called items. So go to this property, click on collections. Either you can provide, there are two ways. Either you can provide within the programming environment, like using collections property, or you can also add these items dynamically at runtime. I will show you both. Okay. So first, let's provide this. What is saying? Enter the string in the collection one per line. So each value should be placed in a separate line first. First is going to be select country. Next one, India, USA. Each one should be placed on a separate line. UK, Australia, South Africa. You can give any number of possible values. I just give 5. Say okay. Right? Now go to start. Run this. Let's see. Okay. Remove that control. Okay, now see. I can see India, USA, UK, Australia. Now user can select a value from list of populated values. Now I can select only one at a time. I cannot select multiple values. Okay. Okay. Now, if you want to store this value into the database, now you need to know what user has selected from your combo box. So how do I capture that value? So as I said, every control comes with set of events and properties. When it comes to combo box, the moment when users select any item from your combo box, immediately one event will be triggered, like your button. If I click on button, what happens? Immediately button click event will be triggered. So if you want to perform any action on button click, that respective action has to be placed inside the click event. Here also, I want to do something on selection of your combo box. Whenever user selects something from the combo box, I want to see what he has selected and I want to perform some action during that selection. So where should I write it? So simple, just double click on this control. It comes with an event called selected index changed. Double click on this, you will see that. 1 second, it's taking time. Let me restart it, guys. Okay. It's still loading. So as I said, every control comes with their own set of unique properties now and events. So if you want to see this event, just double click on this. It will take you to the respective event. See, what is this? This is your control name. And here, as I said, it comes with the event called selected index changed. So whenever I select something from this, immediately this event will be triggered. If I just select something here, it will be triggered. So if I want to perform any action on that selection, so my action should be placed inside this event. That is called selected index changed event. Whenever the selection gets changed, immediately this event will be triggered. Okay, and here we have defined some predefined values, right? We place some predefined values in the collection. Okay, if you go here, all these values will be stored in the form of an array. Internally, all these values will be stored in the form of an array. It means the first value will be available at 0th index and last one is going to be available at n-1th index. So if you want to access any item from your combo box collection, you could also access it using its index. Okay. So here, if I go to common, whenever I select any item from this, it will return the index of that item selected by the user. If I select first item, the index will be written as 0. If I select fifth item, the index will be written as 4. So whenever I select something from here, this event will be triggered and returns in the index of the item selected by the user. Let's track that. Okay. Let's display the item selected by the user. Here in console, if you want to display something, you can use console.write. So what about your Windows? Here it is not console. So like your console, if you want to display something, here you have a dialog box called message box. Message box dot show. It is like your console.write line. You have selected. So your combo box comes with a property called selected item. Country dot selected item dot. It will have three properties. Selected index. What it will return? It will return the index of the item selected by the user. We will see all the three. Selected index. Now see, I'm going to select India. We have selected, this is the index of the item selected by the user. So here I have selected second item. That's why this index is written as 1. And let's select another one. Australia. You have selected 4. It means fifth item. You have selected 5. It means sixth item. So as I said, internally, the collection will be stored in array format. It means the items, all items will be stored based on index. So whenever I select something, what happens? That a respective event will be triggered. That is selected index changed event. Selected index changed event. If I select anything from here, immediately, so this event will be triggered. See, now it came here. Right? So on selection, if you want to perform any action, that action has to be placed inside the selected index changed event. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Next, selected text. Every item comes with two things, text and value. In your combo box, every item you can place two things, like what has to be displayed to the end user, and internally you can mask it with another value. So every item of your combo box can have both text and value. It can have both text and value. So usually text will be shown to the end user, and value is nothing but actual identity of that particular item. Okay, so in this case, we have given a predefined collection. So text and value both are going to be same. But if you want to put two different values for every item, it is possible. For example, I want to show the country name to the end user and the actual code of country to be my value. So every country in the database, I'm storing all the countries using their codes. For example, for India, I will use IND. For USA, I will use USA. For Australia, I will use ASTR. Okay. So here, whenever I bind those values using combo box, I want to show the actual country name in the combo box. In this case, the text is going to be the actual country name and the code of your country is going to be your value. You could also bind two different values using combo box. But whether you will bind the same value or two different value, always the text will be displayed to the end user. Is it clear? Let's see that. Select a text. See. So when we pull it from the database, that time I will show you, okay? So how to bind both text and value. We can bind two different values. Okay. We keep a breakpoint. Now see. I can see these are the different properties of your combo box. Okay, you can set all these properties and you can get all these properties. You can set the background color, forecolor, and everything based on your requirement. Okay, just play with all these options. Okay. Any questions, guys?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, here we added this statistically, like you added all these items during your programming environment, right? Now I want to get these items added dynamically at the runtime. I don't want to hard code in value. Okay, here we are hard coding the values, right? Selected item. Oh. Just go with each and every property and play with these things. Okay. So whatever is available with your CB country. Okay, these are all different properties. Select all, select index, select item, select text, select value. Okay, so try to play with all these things. Okay, then we'll get more idea about each and every control. So not only this control, so try to play with at least minimum number of properties of every control. Okay. Okay. Now, as I said, in combo box, each and every item will be stored in the form of an array. Okay. Here we added them in the programming environment. This is called a static collection, right? But I don't want to add this in the programming environment. Rather, I'd like to get them added dynamically at runtime. Okay. Now, if I run this, my collection will be empty. Nothing is there. Now I want all these items to be added dynamically at runtime, because when it comes to the real-time environment, we usually do not hard code the values within the programming environment. Rather, we get these values from the database. So later I will show you how to get it from database and bind it to the your combo box, how to bind it in two different forms like text and value. As I said, every item will have two forms, text and value. Okay. So text will be displayed to the end user, value will be hidden. Okay, so we will use value when you perform some different database operations. So that will be useful. So when you want to update something, or when you want to delete something, and where you want to perform some key operations, so that time the value will be useful. So that we will see when we discuss ADO.NET. Okay, so for now, just do remember that whenever you want to display list of items, when the user has to be selected only one item at a time, their approach should be towards combo box. Now we have seen how to provide these values within the programming environment. But when it comes to real-time environment, We usually do not keep these values within the programming environment. Rather, we get them added dynamically at runtime. So whether you will get it from database, from service, or some collection, but those items to be added dynamically at runtime. So let's see how do we add them. Okay. So when it has to be added, whenever I run my application, what happens? My form will get loaded. Whenever my form gets loaded, during that, all items of my combo box should be added. Okay. So in order to do that, where should I write my code? So there is an order, right? So first, this will be executed whenever you run your application. So this is the constructor of your form class, plus this will be executed. Then your form load event will get executed. When this will get executed, if I do not click on the checkbox, this will never get executed. It will execute it if and only if something is selected from your combo box. Whenever you select something from your combo box, then only it will be executed. Otherwise, it will not be executed. But when it comes to farm load, it will be executed automatically. Once my farm is loaded successfully, this event execution will take place, right? So when should I add items to this combo box? So whenever my farm load event is executed during that farm load, so all items should be added to my combo box. So how do I add it? So we have a property called CMB country dot items dot add off. Add range. If you want to add all items at a time, you can use add range. If you want to add only one item at a time, you can use add off. Now you can add it. Okay. Select country. India, USA, UK, SCA. What it will do? So as I said, items would expect values to be supplied in array format. So items is an array. So we are adding this to your array. So internally, all your values will be stored in the form of an array. All your items will be stored in the form of an array. So whenever the first item is added, it will be stored at 0th index, and next one will be added at first index. Any questions, guys?
No, sir. Sir, here item keyword is it's a representation of an array.
Yes, let me show you that. See, now all items are added. So now all items are added, right? Now, if you want to add all items at a time, okay, so as I said, internally, all your items will be arranged in array format. When I talk about array, in array, all items will be stored based on index, right? So the internal representation of this one, your items is also going to be similar to your array. Okay, let me show you. For example, I don't want to add all these items like this. Rather, I want to create an array. Let's create an array. Okay, string country names is equal to new string of. Now I can also give like this, right? So here you can specify all your country names. Select the country, comma, India, comma, USA, comma, UK, comma, SCA. I prepared my array, right? Either you can define the size and add them using a loop, or you could also specify set of predefined values during your object initialization, array initialization. Now what happens? One array will be created with this size. Here, how many items are being added here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An array will be created with 5 locations, and these 5 items will be stored into those respective 5 locations. Okay. Now I would like to add an array. What is your combo box name? Combo box country dot items dot items dot. Here you can see it is a property. Combo box is a class which has a property called items. Right? Here I'm adding add range. If I use add, I'll be able to add only one item at a time. Right? So if I use add range, now I can add a complete. So here it is expecting an array. So supply this. Are you getting me? So that is the beauty of your add range. Now we're able to add all items at a time to this. But internally, how my items are getting stored? Your items are getting stored in the form of an array. Any questions?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. Now run this. See, now I can see all the items. Okay. Next, actually, when it comes to the real-time environment, we do not hard code the values like this. But sometimes, if you are getting these values from somewhere, some Excel sheet, some text file, array to me. So you may get collection like this and add the whole collection at a time to your combo box. But in many cases, in 90% of the cases, we do pull this information from backend servers. We do create a separate table for country, separate table for state, and we get this data from database and bind directly into your country. This will come with a property called data source. Data source, right? If you want to bind that data extracted from your database, if you just assign that result set to this, it will be taken automatically. It will be arranged automatically in the array order. Array to me. So that time when we discuss ADO.NET, that time we will see. As I said, it also comes with country dot items dot. It will have these many properties. You'll get a chance to play with your text, value, and everything. Okay. So that time we will see data source, data bind, and all these properties. Data bindings, data source, data text, data value. Okay. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay. So this is just we have seen how to bind set of predefined values in the programming environment, as well as how to add these values dynamically at runtime. Now we are adding these values dynamically at runtime. Are you getting me? So, and here you can also do one thing. If you want to add one by one, not all at a time, then probably you can write a loop and get each item every time from service or from somewhere and get it added to your collection. That depends upon your requirement. If the whole collection is given to you at a time, then you can get it added at a time to your combo box. If something is coming from third-party source, if you're getting only one item at a time, then write a loop, iterate through that, and add only one item at a time until it reaches some particular point. But in 90% of the cases, we do get this collection from the database. The whole collection will be given to you at a time. So that time, we do not add like this. We will make use of, if that is coming from some specific source, we will make use of data source property. Okay, so that we will discuss again when we discuss ADO.NET. Okay, so this is something about your combo box. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
So here all you need
No.
to remember here is when I say combo box comes with an event that is called selected index changed event. If you need to track something selected by the user, you can track it only from here. because whenever user select anything, immediately this event will be triggered. Where that selected value will be stored? That will be stored. First, it returns the index CMV country. As I said, it returns the index selected by the user, selected index, selected text and selected value. As I said, every item will have both text and value property that we will see later. You can bind the same value to text and value, or if you want, you can hold two different values for every item. Text can be something, value can be something. In many real-time cases, we do show the complete text in the text property. We do hold the code of that particular item in value. For example, if you're storing some country codes in the database, okay, for example, if it is India, IND, or some time zones, time zone code and time zone full value. For example, CST is the code. What is the abbreviation of that? Central Standard Time. EST, Eastern Standard Time. In the drop-down list, I'd like to display the complete name, like Central Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, RTM. So, but in the background, I will have a code for that. In this case, you can bind the complete value to a text and the code to your value. So for every item, you'll be holding two values. The abbreviation as text, the code as value. Now, you're going to show only text to the end user because end user may not understand the code. Me. So that's why we usually display the complete text to the end user. In this case, we'll be holding two values, the code and the actual text. I mean, the description of that particular item. Item code, item description. Item code, item description. That's why they give two properties. Okay, for every item in ComboBox, we can hold two values, the description and code. We usually keep code in value and description in text. So whatever is kept inside the text, that will be displayed to the end user. Whenever you select that particular item, now you can take the code from the value and send it to wherever you want to. So that's why every item is provided with two properties, text and value. Okay, and you can also access your items using index. How do I access it? Items of. It is an array, right? If I provide 0, what happens? First item will be displayed. If I provide 1, what happens? Second item will be displayed. Are you to me? Okay. So you could also access your items using index because internally all items will be stored in the form of index. Any questions, guys? Any questions?
No, sir. No, sir.
No.
Okay. Now we have seen how to store a single item using collection, how to store multiple items using collection, how to add a single item dynamically at runtime, how to add multiple values using an array dynamically at runtime, and how to access them using their index. Okay. This is something about your ComboBox. Next, ListBox. Here I have a field called hobbies. Just save this. Okay. Hobbies. Right? So when it comes to hobbies, user should be allowed to select more than one hobby. Here, which one is the right option? ListBox is the right option. Choose ListBox. See the difference of the representation. Here it is like this, here it is like this. Here also you have similar things. Give name of your ListBox. Let's say we usually start with LB hobbies. LB hobbies. So what is the difference between these two? ComboBox doesn't support multi-selection. Your user will be allowed to select only one item at a time, whereas your list box supports multi-selection. User can select more than one item at a time, and your more than one item is visible at a time. Okay. Now, how do I add items to this? Same thing. Your list box also comes with similar type of properties like collection. I can provide list of items here. Reading books, watching TV, playing games. You can add a number of things, as many as you need, right? Now, you can start. Here, only one item is visible, right? Here, more than one item is visible. Okay. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. And here you can, if you want to, here you can see again here. If you want to restrict multiple selection, you can restrict it. That option is also available here. Multi-selection, your selection mode. I kept it as one. You can also change it to multi-simple, multi-extended. Multi-simple and multi-extended. Here, one can be selected using control, one can be selected using your mouse. Okay, click multi-simple. Now it supports your multi-selection. Now click on this, next click on this. I did not use any control. Me. So now I'm able to select multiple things without using control. This is multi-simple. Now let's change it to multi-extended. Now it's click on reading books. If I click on this, earlier it was selected. Now I'm not able to. So now if you want to select another item, you have to use control and click. This is multi-extended. In case of multi-simple, I don't need to use control. Wherever I click on, that will get selected. But in case of multi-extended, another item will not be selected until I use the control. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. Now I need to perform some action on selection of this, or I need to know what user has selected. So like your combo box, list box also comes with its own event that is called selected index changed. So just click on this, you'll see selected index changed event. The event name is same. In GUI based applications, all you need to know here is the controls and their purpose, and where should I write my action. The events of those controls, key events of those controls. When it comes to button, what is the key event? Click event, because whenever I click on button, so click event will be generated, clicking event will be invoked. So if I want to perform some action on click, where should I write it? Under click event. And in case of combo box, where should I write my action if I want to perform some action during selection? Where should I write it? You need to know how combo box comes with selected index changed event. Whenever I click on something, selected index changed event will be triggered. So if I want to perform some action, it should be my logic, my action should be written inside that selected index changed event. Next, in the same way, hobbies. If I want to perform some action during the selection, where should I write my action? So list box also comes with one event called selected index changed event. So whenever any item is selected here, immediately it will be triggered. So if I want to perform some action, where should I write it? I should write inside this. Any questions, guys? And inside your list box also, data will be stored in array format, like your combo box. 90% of the properties are very similar to your combo box. The only thing is, it doesn't support multi-selection, it supports multi-selection. Here only one item is visible, here multiple items are visible. But internal representation and everything is going to be similar to your combo box. Here also same thing. You can hack it. Message box dot show. You have selected list box. What is the name of list box? LB hobby dot selected index. So you have selected index 1 means second item. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Next. Here you can see selected indices. Selected index, selected indices. What is the difference between these two? In case of combo box, you'll be selecting only one item. That's why it returns only one item at a time, the selected index of that particular item. But I can select more than one item, right? Using control. Using control, I can select more than one item. In this case, more than one item will be selected by me. More than one index will be selected by me. If I select more than one index, if I select more than one item, each item will have its own index. In that case, more than one index will be selected, right? So when I talk about selected index, it returns the current index selected by the user. But after selecting all items, where my all selected index will be stored, that will be there in indices. If you select more than one item, indexes of all items will be stored under indices. If you want to know how many items are selected, then you can track it from indices. Any questions?
No, no, sir.
Okay, there is a difference between index and indices. Indices property is not applicable to your combo box because there you can select only one item. That's why this property is not there. Only index, you will see only index. But when it comes to list box, I can select single index and more than one index. If I select more than one item, means more than one index, those will be stored under indices property. Okay. So this is something about your list box. And how do I add these items dynamically at runtime? Here we have hard coded these values in the collections property. Right? Now I want to remove this. I want to get them added dynamically at runtime. Where do I add it? So whenever my form is loaded, that time only all items should be added to your list box. So where should I write my code? So whenever my form is loaded, form load event will be triggered. If I want to get all items added to these controls during form load, where should I write my code? So I have to go to form load event like this, like this. Okay. Now create another array. String hobbies is equal to new string of reading books, comma, watching TV, watching TV, comma, playing games. Okay, like this, you can add a number of things. So this will add the country names. Next, during form load, I should also add items to list box. So LB hobbies dot items dot add off. Here add range hobbies. What happens whenever my form is loaded, form load event will be triggered. So during this form load, what it will do? So it will add items to your country combo box. It will add items to your hobby list box. Now we are adding these items dynamically at runtime. We are not hard coding anything within the programming environment. Now run this. See, all items are added dynamically at runtime. All items are added dynamically at runtime. Any questions?
No,
No.
sir.
Okay, so this is something about your combo box and ListBox. When it comes to GI controls, all you need to know is the properties of your control, like especially the key events of your control. Okay, when it comes to combo box, what is the key event? Selected index changed. It comes with other events also. This is the main event because if I select something, immediately it will be triggered. When it comes to list box, what is the key event? Select and change. So you need to be aware of key events of every control. You need to know where to write your code. That's all. And when it comes to backend code, again, it is a C sharp. That's it. It is a C sharp. It is a plain C sharp. So when it comes to GA based application, you just need to know is what are the different types of controls are available? What is the purpose of each control? When should I use each of them? You need to know the requirements of those controls and what are the key events and key properties of those controls. And this is what you need to know in GA based application. And rest of the thing is going to be your C sharp only. Everything should be written, every action should be written using C sharp only. Okay, so this is something about your combo box and list box. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay, if no, let's move towards the next one. Okay, that is a radio button and checkbox. A radio button and checkbox. When you need to present multiple options like 10, 20, 30, 40 options to the end user, then probably your approach should be towards either combo box or list box. If I need to display only 3 or 4 set of possible values, if I need to display only 3 to 4 set of possible values, then if you choose either list box or combo box, that is not the like ideal thing. Because if I choose list box, using list box, I can display n number of values. But list box is not a lightweight component because that has been built using a lot of programming. Whenever a list box is loaded into your UI programming, so a lot of things will be loaded. Whenever your combo box is loaded, in order to create your combo box, so a lot of things has to be loaded. Right, me. That's why what C sharp, what your GUI is recommending, if you are going to display only 2 to 3 options, do not go with your combo box or list box. If you want to display multiple options like 10, 20, 100, 20, 100, 200, 300, 400, so that time go with your combo box. These are the right options. When you need to display only 3 to 4 predefined possible values. For example, when it comes to gender. In case of gender, you should not ask user to enter the value. If I ask a user to enter the value, someone will enter it as M, someone will enter it as male, right? They might make mistakes. It should be consistent across the system. Now I can use a drop-down list, add 4 possible values like male, female, and other. I can use a drop-down list, right? I can use a combo box. Combo box is also called as a drop-down list. But as I said, only for 3 to 4 values. Do not misuse that combo box because when it comes to combo box, it is not a lightweight control. It comes with too many properties, right? Loading too many things into your main memory would also degrade performance of your application. Already, so we should not use it for everything. If there is a really requirement of combo box, then only use it. Otherwise, do not use it. Because whenever your combo box is created, too many things will get loaded into the main memory, right? So if you are in case of gender, we need to display only 3 possible values. Then why should I go for a combo box? Why should I waste my main memory? So in this case, what your GUI is recommending, better make use of another controller that is called a radio button. A radio button. It looks like a circle. Display these possible values using a radio button. When it comes to radio button, the nature of radio button will be similar to a combo box. It means you can define set of possible values using radio button, but only one value will be allowed. User will be allowed to choose only one value among list of possible values. Are you with me? In that case, you can choose a radio button. If there are set of possible values to be selected by the end user, again, if you are going to place multiple values, you are going to display multiple values. If the user has to be able to select more than one item at a time, then you can go with your list box. But here, I'm going to display only few set of possible values, and user has to be able to select multiple values at a time. Alright, so in this case, your approach should be towards checkbox. The nature of this one is somewhat similar to your list box. So whenever you need to display only few set of possible values, make use of either radio button or checkbox. If the user has to be able to select only one item at a time, make use of radio button. If the user has to be able to select more than one item at a time, make use of checkbox. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's see both. Gender. Gender. Now choose a radio button. Male, female. For every value, you have to keep a separate controller. Right? If I want to present three options, I need to create three radio buttons. The only difference is you're using single control, you'll be able to present multiple options. In order to present n different options, you have to create n different controls. There is a difference. Yet the disadvantage is it will create these many controls. But anyway, if you're going to keep 2 to 3 options, this is highly recommended. If I want to keep 10 different options, then these are not recommended because you need to keep 10 different radio buttons. It will put a lot of burden on the system. Then get it replaced with your combo box. Already, if you're going to place multiple options, then this is not recommended. Then better go with your combo box. Okay. When it comes to radio button, give the name of your radio button. Go to the properties. Radio button text, it should be male. Male and name. We usually start radio button with RB. Male. RB female. And text is email. Next, other. RB. Other. Okay. Now, how do you know like what user has selected? Whether user has selected male or female or other. Because I need to save this into the database, right? So, like your combo box and list box, a radio button also comes with one event. Just double click on this. That is called check could changed event. Check could changed event. Okay. Now, if you want to know what user has selected, whenever I select something, that corresponding check could changed. So male will have its own event, female will have its own event. See, RB male underscore check could changed, RB female underscore check could changed, and RB other underscore check could changed. Already. So from here, you can track what user has selected. Message box dot show. How do I do this? Like here you can keep a connection because I can check it, uncheck it. I can check it and uncheck it. I need to know what has checked, what has unchecked. Are you getting me? So in this case, here you have property RB mail dot checked. You have property called checked. If I select it, this property returns true. If I unselect it, this property returns false. If I say, if RB, if RB male, if RB male dot checked is equal to true, it means user has selected it. Message box dot show. You have selected male. Next, if I select female, now what happens? Every checkbox comes with a property called checked property. This contains some value, either true or false. If this has selected, it returns true. If this has unselected, it returns false. RB female. If RB female dot checked is equal to true, you have selected female. Next, in the same way, other RB other. You have selected. Any questions, guys? So every radio button comes with an event called check could changed event. Whenever I select or unselect, that corresponding check could changed event will be triggered. So during selection or unselection, if you want to perform any action, that action should be written inside check could changed event. And how do I know whether it is selected or unselected? So it comes with a property called checked property. It will let you know whether user has selected or unselected it. If the user has selected it, it returns true. If the user has unselected, it returns false. So based on that value, you'll get to know whether it has been selected by the user or not. Any questions, guys?
No.
No,
No, sir.
See now. Click on male. You have selected male. Female. You have selected female. Other. Now, if I select something, that is others are automatically getting deselected. It means that I can keep n number of controls, but you are allowed to select only one at a time. So the nature of this is similar to your combo box. But the thing is, if I'm going to place only 3 or 4 options, I can go with this radio button. If I need to place 10 different options, for every option, I need to keep a separate radio button control. So those many radio button controls will be created. It puts a lot of burden on the system. In this case, what should I do? If this is exceeding 4 or 5 options, radio button is not the right option. Then get it replaced with your combo box, where I'll be able to accommodate all these options using a single control. When it comes to combo box, it is a single control. Using single control, you can present n number of options. But here, the look and feel of this is good compared to your combo box, because I cannot see all the options until I click on this. When it comes to radio button, your user will be able to see all the options at a time. And you can select only one among all those possible options. Read me, but that's so this is limited. If this is exceeding 5 or 6, this is not recommended. Do not use radio buttons. Get them replaced with your combo box. Any question?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. And next, in the similar way, we have checkbox. As I said, what is the nature of checkbox? This is somewhat similar to your list box. If you're going to present only 4 to 5 options, and if the user has to be allowed to select multiple options at a time, then go with checkbox. Next, Let's see how to use this. For example, go to properties. What is the best mode to contact you? I'd like to know what is the best mode to contact you? Whether we can contact through phone, email, or multiple options. In this case, I can use ListBox because I can provide multiple options, right? Probably I can give my phone. If that is not available, they can contact through alternative or email or text or fax, right? So in this case, I can use checkbox because there will be only few options. Checkbox 1, checkbox 2, checkbox 3. Now checkbox 1 with the text, phone, give the name of this. You usually start checkbox with CHK, phone, next, CHK, email, email, next, text, CHK, text, right? So here, I can choose multiple options. Yeah, you can contact it through either phone or email or text, whatever it is. Or if I don't want anyone to contact me through phone, I can choose email or I can choose text. You can choose one or more than one, right? But how do I track it? I need to know what user has selected, right? So in this case, as I said again, every control comes with its own set of events and properties. You need to know the key events of every control. Like your radio button, checkbox also comes with its own event that is called check could changed event. Check could changed event. Radio button and your checkbox comes with the event called check could changed event. Whenever the selection gets changed, where it is checked or unchecked, checked or unchecked. In both the cases, this event will get fired. If I need to track something or perform any action on selection or unselection, I need to write that action inside this event. And how do I know whether it is selected or unselected? Same. Your checkbox also comes with a property called checked property that returns either true or false. If it is selected by the user, it returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. If checked is equal to true, I can say something like you have selected this. You have selected phone. Readme. The same way, every control will have its own event. Email. CHK email dot checked. You have selected email and text. CHK text. You have selected text. Any questions? So it's pretty similar to your radio button. The only difference is radio button allows you to select only one at a time. Here you can select more than one at a time. See. Now here I can select only one at a time. If I select another one, the first one will get deselected automatically. But here it is not like that. I can select multiple options. First, I selected phone. You selected phone. I can select text. You selected text. And I can unselect it. You'll be able to select more than one item at a time. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
So here, to present every option, you have to keep a separate checkbox control. If I need to present 10 different options, I should keep 10 different checkbox controls, right? So creating 10 checkbox controls for a single requirement, a simple field, is not recommended. If I keep 10 checkbox controls, it would keep a lot of burden on the system. In this case, get them replaced with collections. Read to me your list box or some other thing. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
So yeah, so whenever you need to present multiple options on the screen, if the user has to be selected more than one item at a time, then your approach should be towards checkbox. That too, if you're going to present only few options, make use of checkbox. If you need to present multiple options, then make use of list box. But the problem is, in list box, the look and feel is not good. If I display options using checkbox, it is looking very good, right? So that's why here I have a thought like, if you want to present multiple options, this is the only option, list box. Because using single control, you'll be able to present 1,000 different options. Technically, only one control will be created. Through one control, you'll be able to present 1,000 different. That is the beauty of list box. But items are not getting displayed using checkboxes, right? So why can't we combine the nature of checkbox and list box? I mean, I want to display all my options using a list box like this. I want to present multiple options using a single control. And within this control, all options should be displayed using checkboxes. If we can do that, the look and feel will be, very good, right? It looks very beautiful and would become more user friendly, right? Here, if I want to select multiple items, I have to use control. I have to use control. If the user is not aware of that, you need to use the control. What happens? It becomes difficult for user to select multiple items, right? But if I present these items using checkboxes, you'll get to know, oh, if I want to select this, I have to click on this checkbox. If I want to select more than one item, I have to select more than one checkbox. It would become more user friendly, right? So what your GUI Windows application has done, it has created another controller by combining the nature of your checkbox and list box. It has created another powerful control by combining the nature of your list box and checkbox. That is called check list box. Checkbox plus list box, check list box, where I can present multiple options through a single control and I can display them using checkboxes. That is your check list box. Here it is. What is this? It is a list box, but inside list box, each and every option will be presented using checkbox. So we combine the nature of both list box and checkbox. Yes, same thing. If you want to add items, you can add it from here and you can add it dynamically at runtime. Okay. Phone, email, text. See. And how do I track what user has selected? So it also comes with an event called selected index changed event, like your list box. Internally, all these items will be stored in array format. Whenever I select or deselect something, it returns the index of selected or unselected item. Array to me. So let's see this. See, now I can select multiple items. Any questions, guys? So based on your requirement, you have to choose the respective control. Any questions?
No.
No, sir.
And how do I add items to dynamically at runtime? Whenever my form is loaded, that time you have to add all these items. What is the name of this checkbox, checklist box? Give some name. CHKLB, checklist box. Contact. Right? Now, how do I add it? So go to, if something has to be loaded during your form load, if some action has to be performed during your form load, where should I write my code? Go to form load event. Here, like this, I can also know hobbies. I want to present hobbies using checklist box. How do I do this? CHKLB, CHK. What is the name of that? Dot items dot add range. Hobbies. What happens? All these items will be added to your list box using checkboxes. Now you can see all these are added from my programming environment. These are added dynamically at runtime. No, this should go away. Only these three should be added. How do I do that? So if you want to get everything clear from your existing context, it has a property called dot items dot clear. So whatever was added before, it would remove everything from your control. Everything will be removed from your collection data source. Now only whatever is being added now, only that will be available over there. Now I can see only this thing. So here we are adding the items dynamically at runtime. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, so these are some common controls. Okay, please play with these common controls. And if you want to know the key event of any control, just double click on that. That's it. It will take you to the CS file. Okay, so there is no miracle behind it. Okay, if you want to know the key event of any control, just double click on this. That's it. Okay, next, like this, we have other controls also. Like, if you want to display calendar, for example, in case of date of birth, if the user has to be selected date of birth from the calendar control. Okay, here we have a control called DateTimePicker. Just place it. Right, I don't want the user to enter it manually. Rather, I want him to select it from here. Okay, so your calendar control also comes with an event because I need to know what user has selected. That is date picker value changed. Whenever you select any date, value changed event will be triggered. So it comes with an event. Just click on this control name and a value selected by the user. This will give you the date time selected by the user. Okay, any questions, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, if I run this. So if you are going to design a form, right, in case of date of birth, right, you should not ask him to enter. Here, keep a field called DOB, date of birth. Ask him to select the value. Whenever I select this, what happens? Value change to event will be triggered. This is something about your datetime controller. Okay, and like this, please go and play with other controllers too. Okay, these are all common controllers. Okay, label, ListBox, ListWix, and everything, and picture box. For example, if you want to upload a picture, for example, here we have a photo field called photo. Now user need to upload his photo. Here we have the picture box, right, where you can display picture of the user. This is the name of the picture, and you could also take it dynamically from the source. Here, image is there, no? Image. Here I want to display some logo. For example, on top of my form, I want to display some logo. Okay, how do I do this? So go to properties of this. From here, you can either select it from here, you can add it to your project, or you can get it imported from your local resource. Import it. You can also take it from your database. Rating me. So if you need to display something on your form, some image, you can make use of it. You can set, like size and everything here. That is your image control. Okay. So next, tooltip. Tooltip. So what is a tooltip? For example, sometimes we may need to educate the user also. For example, let's say a ComboBox. Let it come. I don't know whether I need to click on this or not. For example, here nothing is visible to me. Here I don't know. What should I do? Read me. So you should educate the user. Whenever I move my mouse onto this, you have to display some text. Hey, click on here to expand the calendar control or to select your date of birth. Hey, click on this to select your country. Read me. So whatever is required to educate the user, if you need to display that text, you'd be needing tooltip control. That is called tooltip text. What is a tooltip text? Whenever user move his mouse onto that particular control, if some text has to be displayed, that text is called tooltips text. Oh, see here, if I move something here, nothing is showing up, right? I want something has to be displayed on your mouse over. How do I do that? So that will be done through. So if you observe this, for example, if I go to calendar controller, anything, here you don't see any property called tooltip. Can you see any property called tooltip? No, it is not there. Because by default, your control doesn't contain tooltip property. If you want to display tooltip text and on mouse over of any control, so this has to be placed explicitly into your form. That is tooltip. Place it into our form. Now go back to your, just save it and go back to your ComboBox. See, now I can see tooltip property, right? Here you have to write what has to be displayed. I would like to write so you can write any text. Click here to select your country or choose your country. Now here. Now all controls will be, once I place tooltip onto this, all controls will be rebinded. Like, one additional property will be added to all controls that are available on your form. That is called tooltip property. Now you can add tooltip to every control. Click here to select your date of birth. TO. Now run this. Now, if I move my mouse onto this, see what is happening? Now, some text is getting displayed. Click here to select your DOB. If I move this onto, click here to choose your country. If I move my mouse onto hobbies, nothing will be displayed because I did not add any tooltip text over there, right? So you are educating user, you'll get no, I have to click here, choose my country. So wherever you need to display some tooltip text, you can go with this. Any questions, guys? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So next, TreeView controller. TreeView controller. So what is a TreeView controller? If something has to be displayed in TreeView format, what is a TreeView format? First, some heading has to be displayed. If I expand that, all sub-items should be displayed. Again, if I expand any sub-item, their corresponding sub-item has to be displayed. That is called TreeView structure. Okay. Something like this. For example, layout, MISC, right? This is called TreeView structure. Now I can see the group name here. When I expand it, I can see their sub-items. I can inside each sub-item, I can see other sub-items, right? This is called TreeView structure. So if you want to display anything in TreeView structure, Then you can make use of your TreeView controller. Right? So you can, how do I provide the items? Here you have a call. Is that each, here it is like behavior. Each group is called a node. Each group is called a node. Alright, me. So appearance is one node. If I expand it, this will become child nodes. And each child node can become a parent node. And inside each child node, again, you can place a number of subnodes. Any questions, guys?
No.
No, sir.
Okay, just play with all these properties. Okay, now nodes, go to nodes. Now add a root node. Here, name of the root node and tooltip text, and you will have text property. What has to be displayed over there? Okay, name and text. Name is nothing but identity. Let's say main node. You can give any node. Main node. Identity. What has to be displayed? For example, I would like to display something like this. First, country. If I expand countries, all countries should be displayed. Next, under country, I want to place all states. If I expand country, all states should be displayed. If I expand state, all districts should be displayed. Okay, so here it is going to be countries, main node. And under this, I'm going to add a child node 1. This is going to be name and other thing. Okay, just give the text. India. Next, under countries, add one more child. Node 2. China. Under countries, add one more child. Node 3. You just change the text. USA. Like this, you can add a number of things. Now, under India, I want all states of India. What has to do? Select that India. Now, India will become one more parent node. Select India. Under India, add child. Add child. Add child. Add child. Now, give the state names. Telangana. AP. MP. UP. Read me. Now under this, again you get such childs, districts. Hyderabad. Warangal. Karimnagar. Are you getting me? Okay. Now under China, you can make anything. So again under Hyderabad, you can add mandals. Are you getting me? This is called TreeView structure. Once it is done, just click on OK. This will also come with an event called after select event. Whenever you select something, that will get tracked here. You can see all the properties of this dot. Here you can see selected node. Select a node comes with two things. Select a node dot text and value. Select a node dot, it will give you the node of the text of the selector node. Are you to me? So if you want to know what has selected, what user has selected, just call this property. So whenever I select something here, immediately this event will be triggered. On selection of this, if you want to perform any action, that action has to be written inside this. Execute this. See, countries. Read me. This is called TreeView structure. Any questions, please?
No, sir.
Okay, so the expectation here is you need to play with some common control. When we get into web application, that time, like you can easily understand the nature of all those controls. There will be using the similar type of controls, label, text box, drop down list. Are you to me? Okay, so please play with these common controls. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be focusing on other things like how do we create menus like this? These are menus, right? How do we create menus like this? And how do we create dialog boxes? Something like if I click on open some file, some dialog box got displayed, right? So how do we create these kind of dialog boxes? Okay, and tomorrow it is going to be ended. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be covering. Okay, so how to create menus, how to create dialog boxes, and we will also see containers. Like here, if you keep all your controls like this, it doesn't look good. You need to group them using some containers. Okay, and I'd be needing more 2 sessions. So tomorrow I'll be covering this, and after tomorrow we will see how to connect to your database. Now we are hard coding these values, right? But in the real time, you need to get these values from the database. Then we will see how to connect to your database, backend database, how to establish the connection to your backend database, how to execute different commands to perform different database operations, like how to extract data and present it using different controls, how to save data from here, how to update data, how to delete data from here. That will be your third class. So that will be part of your ADO.NET session. Okay. And ADO.NET is common across all applications because from console, you need to connect to database. From Windows, you need to connect to database. From web, you need to connect to database. Any questions, guys?
No.
No, sir.
Okay. So these are some most important controls. Please do play with this like button control, ComboBox, ListBox, okay, radio button and checkbox. Okay. Right. Right, guys. We'll see tomorrow.